Hello, 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 welcome everyone back to Dinsmore Simulations, this is our channel. I'm Dinsmore Sim. We are continuing our series. We are doing quite well. I'm hoping you've been enjoying the other episodes. If you've not seen those already, you could jump in at this stage. We've kind of just got started, but we've been working on first steps, learning the basics in Ark Ascended. We have been exploring some of the game mechanics, understanding where we're starting in the world, a couple of tips and hints to get you hopefully starting in a better way than when I started playing the game, and hopefully avoiding some frustrations along the way. Hopefully you've been watching the episodes and doing a bit more exploration on your own in between. So who knows, maybe you're even further on than where we are at this stage, but this episode is going to be all about building your first house. So without further ado, and we finished with our tame. And here he is, Perry, looking marvellous. Hello, Perry. And I'm going to talk about those things in a minute. At the moment, I want to take advantage of a couple of other dinos that I've seen. So this is a Moschops, and luck would have it, we have the best opportunity to tame a Moschops. And they are such a really good early tame. So these are a passive tame. For a passive tame, you don't have to knock them out. So for the Moschops, and there's two here actually, so I'm going to show you the other one and see what they're asking for. So this one is asking for major berries, this one is at level 20, and this one is asking for tinto berries and is at level 15. So actually both of these are really straightforward. The difficulty with the Moschops is it asks for a whole variety of things, so sometimes it will ask for flowers. We did have those in the earlier episode, I got rid of them, so you may have actually decided to keep hold of some of those. Sometimes the Moschops ask for that. It's purely random, so a little bit of luck with that, but they are fairly common in this region, and this is a fantastic tame for us to start with. So super easy, even easier than Perry. You don't need anything, so my best advice would be, if you see a Moschops, doesn't matter what level it is, tame it up. And all I have to do is go up to it, press E, and that's it. It's tamed. How easy is that? Going to call him Moto. In fact, I'm going to call her Moto. I'm going to change her name. You've got loads of different things in here. I'm going to explain some of those in a moment. We're going to call you Molly. Molly the Moschops, just make it nice and easy. And for this one, it's super easy. All I have to do is press E, and off I go. Look, I'm riding. And again, I can press the shift key, so this is walking and this is riding. So you can actually move a fair amount, but the real advantage is this. So Moschop is great for eating berries, picking those up, and also for, well, knocking over some other things, but you won't actually get any stuff from the trees, so they're better for all the berries. Now they will become encumbered quite quickly. And this is where we can start talking about levels, because all of your dinos have levels just like we have levels. So if I look on here, a couple of things. It was level 29. Because it's a passive tame, you're not going to get any taming effective bonus, or at least with the Moschops you're not. So a couple of things you want to think about. Level 29 is perfectly fine, but it means that some of the stats when we go to access inventory are going to be a little bit lower. So health isn't particularly high. Stamina was okay, oxygen okay, and perfectly fine for this level at 29. But look how much fibre we've got already. All I've done is run around for about 10 seconds, and already we've got the most fibre we've had in the whole game since then. In addition to that, we've picked up loads of berries, and remember, we were talking about narcotics, and that is the next big thing to really think about. But before we can worry about any of that, we're going to have to start thinking about a base. So we've got loads to do in this episode. I want to get you started. What I'm trying to do here, I'm not saying you have to follow everything to the letter to what I'm doing. I'm trying to give you some tips on things you might want to prioritize in the early game. But of course, you might decide to do it completely different. You might run off into the ocean. I've said this before. I would find it hilarious if you ran into the ocean and progressed really quickly. I think you'll go into the ocean and you'll die about 1,000 times. But feel free to have a go. I'd love to be proven wrong. And you never know. You might find some amazing tame in the water, because that's definitely a part of the game that I haven't done much exploring of yet. And I'm hoping as part of this ongoing series we can be exploring loads of different things about Ark Ascended. So I'm a bit overwhelmed with where to start. We've got that many things going on. Let's have a look at the availability. We could put some things into health. There aren't many animals at the minute that are going to eat it, but you know, probably not a bad thing. Weight and melee. Melee, I believe, improves the rate at which they will pick up and harvest things. This is more relevant for other dinos, and weight is obviously how much weight they can carry overall. For the moment, all of that is fine. Now, there's one thing you can do with the Moschops which is really helpful. At the moment, oh dear, we've got a, I know that sound, got a Dilophosaurus. Now, some of these tames might be attacking. Now, the only issue with that is, now, I'm going to just start doing things and I'm going to explain this in a minute, because otherwise I'm going to end up with dinos dying. So let me do this first. So, typically when you tame, they automatically start following you. What you can do, if you press E on them, it won't do anything, but if you press and hold E, it gives you this radial, and there are a couple of things you need to be aware of. Behaviour, if you click on that, you've got a whole host of different behaviours. The main thing to change is their normal stance. So if you want them to stand there and do absolutely nothing, even if an animal comes and attacks them, and they will literally stand there until they get eaten, then you can put them on passive. I'm going to move again because I've got this really annoying thing flying above me. Come on guys, let's go over here. Let's just see what we want to do. Hello, who's coming? Yay, we're all coming. Right. So, Molly, you are very slow because she's got loads of berries. And that's going to annoy me that she's sitting on this rock. Let's just go a bit further. Okay. So, let's go back. Stop. What are you doing? Okay. So, if I press and hold E, you'll see within this radial you've got lots of options. You can access the inventory, we can drop things, we can transfer things. Definitely want to transfer the fibre, but again, look, I'm pretty high on here and I'm running out of storage. Oh! See what I mean? I hate these guys. Right. Welcome to the world of Ark. I knew it would happen eventually. I'm going to put them on passive. I'm going to try and explain all these things, but at the minute I'm not allowed to because this stupid thing wants to kill me. Couple of things. Oh no. Right. What can I do? Let's put them on passive. In fact, right, this is really annoying because you're going to just keep doing this. You're going to keep attacking me and you're going to be interrupting, and I'm trying to update everyone on what to do. So, haha. Now, you see those things that keep taking off you? They are actually stealing things from your inventory, and it can get really annoying. Sometimes it's food, so if you've only just cooked food, they can take that, or they take berries, or they take other things. And now a Diplodocus has turned up. This is going to die as well. And then, oh, maybe I can restart the episode. No, we're going to soldier on. This is exactly what happens on Ark. So enjoy, guys. If this hasn't happened to you already, it's going to happen. I still don't know where I'm up to. Let's try and get them all so they're not stood in each other, and then we can have a conversation about tames. Okay, let's start again. I think this is the third time. We can select on here and we can decide what things we want to move over. I was saying my weight, I'm about to become over encumbered, so there's no point trying to do anything with that. I could move the berries over, but I'm going to have an issue. So for the moment, I'm just going to put a few other stat increases on Molly here. But what Molly can also do is she can wander. So if you put dinos on wandering, they will just walk around. Now, you do run the risk that they might get eaten by other dinos, so just be mindful for that. But Moschops is good because it will also auto-harvest, and you can go back in a little while and you'll have more of the things that we were wanting. You've got to make sure to take them off disable following. So I'm going to click off disable following, and then I'm going to click on enable wandering. As soon as I do that, she's going to start wandering off. A couple of the things you can change. You've got a targeting range, so if you put this lower, if say you had them on aggressive, they would attack anything within a certain range. I wouldn't typically put them on aggressive. I normally do that later on in the game where maybe I've got a base and I want to keep it protected, but you want to make sure you've got reasonably higher level dinos that you know aren't going to die, and then you're not worried if they go around and attack things that are at your base. For now, I'm not going to put this on passive, I'm going to put it on neutral. Sometimes for Moschops I'll put on flee, but they're not particularly fast and it's going to be staying quite close, so I'm not worried about that. You do have some of the harvest settings. I'm not going to spend too much time explaining that, but you can go through and change some of these things. You could change the disable resource harvesting, but you don't really want to do that. What instead you want to do is you can go into here and you can prioritize certain things that you want them to harvest. So I could say that I want to harvest more flowers or more mushrooms or more of these other things. Again, some of these you won't have even seen yet, but that's something that you can start to think about as you gain more experience using Moschops. For the moment, I tend to just leave all that, put it on wandering, and then let it do its thing. Remember, you can ride Moschops, so if I think, you know what, she's not near any berries, I can move her over. Can't do that at the moment because she's encumbered. I'm going to see if maybe I can take some of the things. I'm going to take these berries over only because I know I'm going to use them, and then I'm going to press the drop all and get rid of those because I'm less worried about the others. Now I am over encumbered, so I'm going to drop some things. Well, I've got a couple of levels, so you know what, I'm going to put them both into weight, and that actually gives me a chance to do that. So, you know what? I need to do some storage. That's going to be the main thing that's going to help me. I need a bit more wood. Don't know if that's enough wood. Oh, of course it isn't. I need 3 more wood. You see what happens now? I'm super slow. So this isn't the most efficient way in starting. So I want you to watch our episode today, see all the things that I'm doing in the wrong order, and then decide you're going to do it in a better order. But this is actually what I really enjoy about the game. Everything is different. Every time I start a new game, something different happens. I've got to play it in a different way. And I think the more that you play it and the more experience you get from trying these different approaches, you're going to see that you can make efficiencies in different ways. So this is really going to help. I'm going to get a large storage bookcase, because we need to start getting on top of storage. Storage is probably one of the biggest and frustrating parts of the game if you're not on it really quickly. As I said, the small storage boxes will go on the floor. I'm pretty sure the bookcases won't. Oh no, they will actually. Very good. So I could actually put that there as well. But I'm going to put it somewhere around here. Maybe I like that. You know, there are creative ways of putting these things down. You can almost make this like a little headboard. It doesn't really matter. It would still open up the bed. Why don't we try that? I'm just gonna, you know, I'm gonna go crazy. I'm gonna just try it and see what happens. I don't know. Does that look like a headboard, or does it just look like I've got a wardrobe on top of my bed? In any case, I'm not going to worry about it. Now I can put a bit more storage. I can hear, that's the sound of Molly or a Moschops doing something. So I was thinking it was being attacked, but actually it's just chewing away. But you see, she's actually going through all the tundra and picking stuff up. So in a while I'm going to go back and get more things off her, and you're going to see. So I'm going to put, oh dear, there's another two. See what I mean? Right, so this is something you have to watch out for. For the minute, I've put her on neutral, I think, so she's going to run away, which is perfectly fine. I want her to do that. And now she's going to carry on running around. Just want to keep a bit of an eye on her, especially on this early game, because I want to get some early game materials from her. This is the other one, so I'm just going to kill this one. There's no reason to keep it. By the way, I've still got... oh, I'm getting lots of hide from this, which is great. Perry is still on follow. I could put Perry not on follow and leave him at the base. It's not a particularly hard tame, so if something bigger, even a trike, comes along and attacks us, Perry's probably not going to do a lot and will end up dying. Perry is really a first tame, so parasaurs are good for berries, and shortly I'm going to show you some of the utility of Perry. So you know what? Let's press E. I'm going to go to behaviours. I'm going to go disable following. I've got a couple of upgrades to do here, so again a bit more health isn't a bad thing. A bit of melee. Not going to worry about it at this stage. So these are all cooking along. I actually have more space, so I'm going to update that. I'm going to put a little bit more thatch in there as well, so that's cooking away. I've got a couple of other things I need to do. I just need to get organised, and I think this is again something else to be really mindful in this game. You have to try and organise your inventory. You're going to get swamped with all this extra stuff, and especially if you take the premise I gave you, which is kind of stock everything. Maybe it's a bit of overkill, but I think stocking everything means that later down the line, especially if you want to work towards Ascension, you've got everything you need. So that's why at some point we're going to finally get around to building a base. But you know what? This is what happens in Ark. So I've got 2 more points. My melee is not too bad. I'm going to put on health. What I want to do is sort out some of this storage. So this is just the way I like to store things. You're going to build up your own system the way you like to do it. The great thing about... Oh, not a storage box. About the... Oh, still says storage box. That's a bookcase. I never noticed that. But anyway, this storage has 45 slots, whereas this one has only 15 slots. So there's a couple of things I'm going to move over. Anything that is a bit more important, I'm going to take out of these smaller ones. So pretty much everything else out of here, I'm going to use straight away. And I'm going to put these in here so that I really just know where everything is and I can start building these things out. Wooden thatch I think I can start to put in there. For the moment I'm going to put berries in here because I'm not ready with my mortar and pestle, because I want to start building a little hut. So that's going to come very shortly. So you know what? I don't need much of this stuff, and just to make it a little bit easier I'm just going to dump most things in here. So one useful thing to know early on: your raw meat that you're collecting, it will decay, and it will decay quite fast in your inventory. There are certain animals you can put them in, they'll decay slower, but you do want the meat to decay because shortly we're going to be able to use spoiled meat and narcoberries to make narcotics. We're going to need that in order to trank our tames, and that is a really big step up. That's going to allow me to tame a trike much more easily, and some of the bigger tames. So things like raptors, for example. You don't necessarily need to have it. You saw in the previous episode I was using the wooden bat. I always forget what this is called. Whatever that is, and that will knock them out. But as soon as you can get a bow and you can trank dinos, that's really going to help you level up. And again, when I started the game, there was just no real understanding of that. I think what I did was I got the bow, I got the tranks, and then I was trying to trank a raptor, and it was still killing me. And it was still killing me because I wasn't using bowlers to trap the raptor. You're not going to know these things. You just have to play, and you have to die, and you have to see what happens. So what I've tried to do over the time that I've been playing the game is start to build some experience with each of the dinos. Some people just want to focus on Ascension and push all the way through. Other people want to do a bit more of that exploration. So whatever you want to do is totally fine. If you want to race to Ascension, then feel free to do that and focus on all of the main elements in order to progress through. That will definitely take us well beyond this series, but there will be future videos with future content, so if you're really keen to work on Ascension, do mention in the comments. It's definitely something we can continue to provide some insights to on the channel. So, I think we're largely organised. Come on, Dinswell Sim, you're not doing very well here. Let's do a couple of things. I want to just keep them topped up. What I was going to tell you was, because these are slowly decaying, you can make them decay much quicker by splitting them. So you split all, it looks a bit busy in your inventory, and if I do that on the 16 as well and split all, these will now start to decay quite quickly, and you'll see very quickly these are going to get to the very bottom of their health stat, and then they're all going to drop into decayed status, and it will clean up my inventory. That's a really easy way of moving your raw meat into spoiled meat. And yeah, just a quick little tip, again something that took me a long while to work out as well. So I think everything else is fine here, I'm okay with that. Let's talk about building a base. So, talked about storage. At the moment I like to keep these small storage for some berries and maybe for some light armour or things maybe that you've picked up along the way, so it's kind of like weapons and armour items. And then when I first get the bookshelf, this is where I'm starting to store some of the heavier items and the longer term items I don't know what to do with. This bookcase and bookshelf you'll be using all the time, so you're definitely going to want to start creating more space. And for me, this is where the game becomes really important, because you have to decide, do you want to create a base or do you just want to stack everything on one piece of thatch foundation? Don't know about you, but I don't think that's a particularly exciting or nice way to play a game. So I wouldn't recommend it, but it's a good way to start. So let's talk about building a base. I think we're ready. We're going to continue in Thatch, because that's what we'd already been working on. We're just going to tidy up these pinned items. I could leave storage there, I don't particularly need it now, but I do need wood and thatch. So now that I've stored several of these away, I'm actually going to bring that out. So I need fibre. Oh, and I can hear another of these seagulls. They're so annoying. This is the only thing about being on the beach. You will get loads of them. Where are you? Come on. Oh, did he disappear? I can hear him. Oh, he's there. Right. I think to make this easier then. So in the previous episode I was going to explore the beach. Now I didn't really do that, and I've kind of stayed in one spot. So you know what? We're going to explore a bit of the beach, because I've not shown you any of the area at all. Now of course I could go down here and I might come across something that wants to eat me, and I might be dead. But that is the price you pay for a bit of exploration. So just decide what you want to do. I mean, why not? It's a nice sunny day. I'm hoping there aren't too many T-Rexes over here. It kind of makes the game fun, also quite terrifying. But you know what? Let's just have a go. Now, you might come across some other dinos as we start going a bit further into the map. At the moment, I think we're just coming across all the ones that we've seen already, which is good. I'm going to stay away from the water, because I think that's going to present other challenges, especially since my priority at the moment is building a base, and that again is something that I think you need to think about when you're playing the game. It depends how you want to develop in the game. You could spend hours just having a look around or deciding to attack some creatures, and before you know it, you've played the game for 3 hours and you still haven't built your base. So sometimes you have to just decide what it is you want to do. You know what? Sometimes you don't have to decide that. Sometimes all I want to do is kill turtles. And there you go. That's what I'm going to do. It's only a level 25. Remember, this is getting me both experience, it's also getting me hide, it's getting me some of that keratin, and it's getting me some meat. So it's kind of like a win-win. Just a reminder, I am again pressing H here just to look at my bar. You can see my food and water is about half, so I'm going to come over to the water and press 0. Now I don't need to be... Oh no, was there another one? Oh no, it went into the water, it's over there. Ugh. Honestly, these sounds stress you out when you start hearing them. Cool colour of the turtle, by the way. That's another really fun thing about the game. You get loads of colour variations, so you might find a creature that you really love the look of. Maybe you've decided for your tribe you want all your creatures to be a certain colour. You might want to try and catch them in the wild, or you might eventually want to breed them for a certain colour. So that's a really cool part of the game as well. And you could spend ages doing that, but that is definitely something to explore later on, and not going to be part of our first steps into the world of Ark Ascended. So, I'm trying to build a base. You see what I mean? So distracted. I got distracted by this seagull thing. I got triggered by its noise. It was actually just eating some fish. And then I was looking at my food. So, what I was in the middle of saying, before that terrified me, and still slightly terrified me, is I need to eat some food, so I'm going to do that. I'm going to have a couple of steaks. You can see I'm cold, but I'm okay. The hide's giving me some good protection there. And that's about it. So I'm at the end of this little coastline. So I have a couple of options. I could go inland, and you can see I've got this first little island. So if I go to my bigger map, I can zoom in, I can zoom out. You know, I mean, I could do a big search all the way around here. And you know what? I'd probably encourage you to do that, even if it's just the first little island that you're on. Because that will give you a bit of an idea in terms of what creatures are around, because creatures are spawning in similar areas. So for example, all these seagulls, they tend to spawn around the beach. The Moschops happens to be spawning at that part of the beach where I am. You might find there are some other creatures at the top here that are spawning at the top. So that feels a little bit easier than trying to take on the whole of the map of Ark and deciding which creature you want to go to, you want to tame, you want to understand. So you know what, just take your time. I think this is a game where you just take your time. I'm not rushing it, certainly. So let's see what we can do. I'm at the end here. I don't think I want to do loads more exploring. I can see a load of seagulls here. I'm going to just go up this way because I might come across a couple of other animals, a couple of other creatures to talk to you about. Remember, you can jump with space. Again, I'm about half on my weight, so because I'm going to be making a circle round back to my base, why not be efficient and continue collecting some of the main ingredients that you need. Remember that with thatch I'm going to be using my pickaxe because that's going to give me more thatch, but when I get to my wood I'm going to use the hatchet. And just bear in mind, wood is going to be heavier than thatch. I don't particularly want to be over encumbered on the way back to base. Don't need to worry so much about fibre now, which is good, because every time you pick the fibre I'm getting all those berries and that's weighing me down, so I don't want to worry about that either. And there you go, I've done a little circle and I'm already back to my base. Now shortly I'm possibly going to cross over and go to the other side of this little beach. If there's piranha in there, it doesn't look too deep, it doesn't look too far, you know what, I might even be able to step across. I'm going to do it, I'm going to be brave. Ooh, there you go. So I'm on the opposite side. So you know what? You might decide you're a bit bored of that. You've spent a fair bit of time on that side and you want to make it a bit easier. The only thing I would say to that is don't go too far from your original base. At the moment you haven't got much opportunity to move things. And this tends to be the biggest criticism for people when they talk about building a base. Is I'm not going to build it in that area because it's too far away from my main base or my starter build or wherever I've got all my storage. So it's definitely something to think about. So at the moment I can just go back to all the things I want to think about doing. So picking up some more materials, travelling around. Because if I'm going to build my base, I'm going to be using quite a bit of thatch. So I might as well collect some of this. You can see I've got loads of fibre there. I've got nearly 300 thatch. You know what? That's probably enough. Now this looks a bit deeper, so I'm slightly terrified to go here. Because look, I'm in the river now. And if you remember, there were some piranha before. Now there are a load of dodos here, they're not doing a lot. And it'd be good to get some meat, so I'm just going to kill those. I did hear a baby one. Remember, you get the prime meat from them. And all the time this is giving you experience. So just continue to murder dodos. That's apparently how they became extinct, right? Everyone played on Ark and killed them, along with seagulls. So, let's go back to the base. Let's see what we've got here. Oh dear, see what I mean? We're back again. You know what, I think that was a piranha. I think I triggered something in the water. Yeah. Let me just explain this. These were the berries that I dropped before. Because there's loads of them, it's going to take quite a while to despawn. Normally when you drop items they don't last particularly long, so if I had too much weight and couldn't move around, I might end up not being able to move, and if I dropped, say, a load of wood, I'd have to go and pick that up within like 10 or 15 minutes of gameplay. It won't stay there for a whole day. But there are other items that will last longer, so just be mindful for that. Just one thing before I continue there, I saw that Molly's run off. So I want to just check that she's alright. There's a random bit of flying poop. I have no idea where that came from. Yep. They have done some updates on the game not that long ago. They continue to do loads of updates, but when it first came out, it was glitchy. There was loads of stuff going wrong. I have to say that has improved, and I think even in the last major update, that was actually a lot better. If you are having any issues with how it's running, I would really encourage you to just think a little bit about your settings. There are separate videos on those sorts of things, so just go and have an explore of that. There are some ideas around certain settings that are maybe triggering certain elements, but I think since the game has been out now for a good while and people are continuing to work on them, I think many of those videos might be giving you advice on things that actually have been subsequently patched, but you're just going to have to experiment a bit with it. Everyone's system's a bit different and some things just don't always work. So here she is. I was looking for Molly. You can see she's already improved. Look how much fibre she's got, and she's got more berries, and I've literally had to do nothing. So they are so good in this early game because I haven't had to worry about any of that. She's got 5 levels. I'm going to give her a bit of health. I'm going to give her a bit more weight. Major berries you tend to use quite a lot. If you look on the Dodo decks, quite a lot for major berries. She's just gone out of my immediate area, so that's why I've lost access to her inventory. I am carrying too much again, so I'm going to drop things off. And then you know what? We're going to actually get started with the main objective for this video. Because I can't believe that we haven't started it yet. Well, I can believe it. So, let's have a look. What did I want to do? I wanted to be a bit organised here. This is going to stress me out. Honestly, it's so funny. I think these sorts of games, if you've even got the slightest OCD tendencies, there are just some certain things that you'll want right in the game, and if it's not right, it's going to stress you out. We all can imagine what they are, and you're going to see plenty of them as we go through. So, I'm moving some things out, but actually I'm thinking I want to keep the thatch in there, and I want to keep the fibre. This, for some reason, isn't cooking, so let's just resolve that. I'm going to put 200. Remember, 200 is the max, so if I do that I can just keep it lit. I've got a few of the primes, so you know what, I'm going to continue with, since I'm staying at the base, and I'm going to start with some thatch. Now, I really like thatch, and when I first started playing the game I just made a box for a house, and you know what, a box for a house is rubbish, and I am definitely not the best house builder in the game. Shout out to Lols at Lance. If you've not seen his channel, you should definitely go and have a look. He makes some amazing different builds for Ark Ascended, and you will see some of my later builds on this channel have been inspired by lots of his tutorials, so definitely give a shout out to Lols at Lance. Go and check out his channel. So here you go, I've got some thatch. You know what, I'm going to keep it super simple, but for you guys, if you're thinking this looks too easy, or you don't like all the seagulls around, or there's too many dodos, like whatever you think, you could build somewhere else. For now, I'm going to build a nice space here. So you've got a couple of options. When you put it down, you can click down once, and then it allows you to adjust the height. I would suggest keeping it about a medium level, so that when the train goes higher and lower, you keep all of this on an even level. Can you see as we go back here? And, you know, 4 blocks, perfectly fine just to get started. To be honest, I'm not a big fan of 4 blocks though, because I think it looks really boxy. And I think if you can do anything to avoid your house looking really boxy, it's actually going to look cool. And that's really all you think trying to do to begin with. And then you just have to experiment. And there are loads of options for building and trying different things. I actually quite like building more in a kind of sort of beach hut style on the beach. There are loads of builders that make little tiki huts and you know, almost like little Hawaiian inspired huts on the beach. So I think that sort of aesthetic can work really well. For the moment, I'm not going to worry about making this a beautiful base. I think for the first base you want it to be functional, practical, and to give you a little bit of room to move around. And I think 2x3 is a good start, and that's all I'm going to do. I'm going to make it dead easy for you guys. I'm going to show you most of the building blocks that you can use for a 2x3, and then we're going to start making our starter home and move our things in. So you can see I'm using quite a lot of thatch here, so this is why I'll keep saying it, but if at the start of the game you'd have spent half an hour just going around cutting down a load of trees, you've now, oh, see, I can't climb up there. And you'd have done all of this, and maybe you'd have got 2 or 3 bookshelves, and you'd put not 1 thatch foundation down, but 2 thatch foundation down. Well, you hadn't even worried about putting the foundation down, because remember, bookcases don't need them, as well as the storage. And then you could just literally spend a little bit of time crafting and harvesting. I'm sure I can jump up here, 1 sec. Sometimes you need to run up, there we go. And then that makes it so much easier, because I can then just go ahead and create my base. So you can actually do this really quickly. You might be able to do that as the first thing on the first night. Maybe just make yourself a small little hut. Got triangular foundations as well. It can just take a little bit more playing around to make it look aesthetically a little bit nicer. So I think for a starter home, I would say just start with a 3x2. I'm going to show you what I do for this. I'm going to run out of thatch again, but I'm going to go get some more in a minute. Let's see, that's probably going to take most of my weight. And which way do I want it to face? Probably this way. I think it'd be quite nice to look out onto the beach. Yeah, again, thinking about it, maybe I'd have set it a bit further back. Could set it a bit further back, but you know what? It's a first little beach hut, and I think that's nice. Well, okay, there's a couple of options. Again, don't want to make it too complicated, so you know what? I'm not going to do that at this stage. Just want, if you do nothing else when you build, just build this. Now, what's really good is these snap to different snap points. You can press R and you can go through all these different options. This is going to be my door, so I'm going to actually put the door in the front here. You can put windows as well, so I'm going to put 2 windows there, and because there's often quite a lot of dinos coming this way, I'm going to put one there, and maybe I want to look down there. But I do want some walls where there isn't a window. You know what, I'm not going to make that super symmetrical, so let me put it there. So now we need to go back to a normal wall. You can also do a secret wall. You can't do this in thatch, but you can in wood, for example, the next tier up, which is kind of cool. But for now, that's it. So I've built most of the main walls. I'm going to put the roof on and some side walls up, and then I'm going to finish this in a minute. So you see how this goes together really simply. And what I like about it is it's just super straightforward. And within not a huge amount of time, I've kind of got a house. And you know what? I don't think it looks too bad. So I'm just going to finish that off. As I said, I've not got all of my materials yet, and you can see here on the right with my thatch foundation, I've actually run out of wood. So I'm just going to come over here and cut another tree. Everything else I'm okay on, although I don't have loads of thatch. So I'm going to change, I'm going to get a bit more thatch from here, and then I should be able to do a little bit more building. Remember, you can, once you've got all the materials, just tap it on the hotbar. So I've got it on number 9, so that's what I'm doing here. I need another roof, so I'm going to do the one that's on 8, and I also need another 1, maybe 2. Did I put the door down? Can't remember. But I'm going to need the side panels, so I'm going to do that in a second. You need to get reasonably close to the house to do it. Again, if any of this is in the wrong place, like this for example, if you press E, that's going to turn it inside out. If you press R, in that snap point it moves to all the different places. So you just have to experiment around, move to different spaces, and then you'll find the snap point you want. Click that and it builds in. So it's really straightforward, the build, which I really like. This is the roof, so that wasn't what I wanted. I'm going to put my roof up there. And you know what? That's it. I think I've basically got my house. I'm going to put my 2 side roofs on there. And yeah, as I thought, I need 1 more of these. So if you just type in thatch, you're going to get all of the things that you need. And I don't know if you noticed here, but this is our ramp and stairs. So I'm going to use that, and then I can create some cool stairs at the front. And there you have it. That's basically my house built. So it doesn't have to be amazing. It doesn't have to be perfect. See, here you go. Look, I can change that. That's like an animal ramp. I don't want that one. I want stairs. I think that looks nicer. And there you go. Look how cool that is. And that's my little hut. So I need a door. That would probably be cooler. But just bear in mind that a thatch house is going to fall down in about 5 seconds. So if you have some crazy creature like a Therizina come along, your thatch house is not going to last very long. But I think for a little beach hut and just to get started, if you've spawned in a safe zone, like the green zones that we spawned in, I think you'll be absolutely fine. I think if you're in the medium difficulty, and certainly if you're in the hard difficulty, you need to be minimally starting with wood. But as we said in the early episodes, that's going to just take you a little bit longer to farm everything, especially at this stage, because none of the creatures that you got are going to be very good at farming. So, but I think then that's going to be it. So look, you know, it's not the most amazing house, but I think you'd agree it's better than a box. And what I'm going to try and do over the next couple of episodes is make a few more changes just to make it a little bit more homely. But until then, I've got a few more things to do. I need to put in the final wall. Remember, you need to change this. So I quite like the small door on these thatch ones, but you could go with a wider door. And then, of course, I need a door. So the doors come in a couple of options. You can get a main door, and then you can also get that same door will also cover windows, and I've got 1, 2, I think 4, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, so I'm going to need a few more for those. And, you know, why not? Obviously you don't need it, but I think by doing it, it just makes it a little bit more exciting, and it just makes it a little bit more pleasant to play. It's not just some box you live in. And actually, I really like the thatch look. I think combining materials later as well, when you get more confident with your building skills and you try out some different things, I think the more variety you can add, the more interesting it's going to be. And you know what? I think I've made an extra one. So I made an extra one. I don't need the extra one, so you know what? I'm going to just show you what happens if you need to delete anything. Press E, I can delete, and there you go. Just deletes it. So I'm going to put my door on there. It does open both ways. This is where I get a bit OCD. If I was coming out the house, I'd be opening it that way. I wouldn't open it the other way. And there you go, there's my house. So for the moment, we're going to end the video there. I've got obviously all my materials on that side. So in the next video, I'm going to properly move in. But you know what? I don't think that's too bad. We're losing the light as well anyway. So I'm going to just stand in front of my house, contemplating the world. Look at that. And I'm going to do... I think I'm just going to work my way through these because I've not tried them. Let's do a salute. And there we go. Thank you guys for watching. Hope this has inspired you to continue on your building your first base. Just try it out, but I think thatch on the beach, something small and easy, straightforward like that, is really going to help you out. And again, if you've enjoyed it, make sure that you've subscribed, and I'll see you on the next video. For now, explore, analyze, simulate. I'll catch you next time.